That's good.
It ain't used to race cars, y'all. No, don't mess with all that. A lot of times, well, yeah, you're gonna have to pull the fuel on. I know for sure. Actually, yeah, you might as well go and flip them all on. Well, I mean, because you don't need them all necessarily to move them. Shouldn't, probably. If they've been gutted to be lighter, they probably don't. So this is what we are working with. What kind of car is this? Ain't it a little Miata or something? It's a Miata. So it's a legit race car. Carbon top, carbon hood, and carbon trunk lid. The type of race car is whatever this stuff is. It's NASA HPDE. I need to look it up to see what that is, but not my thing, but that's what this customer's thing is. So it's got the full cage in it, seat, all the other seats been taken out, roll bars in the back. I mean, it's I guess it's the real deal for what it is. So I know nothing about any of this stuff. Guessing, I don't know, that's glass side windows, but I don't know what these are for, unless it's something to hold the door panel on with. Who knows? Not my cup of tea. So we're going through and painting everything. There's been a lot of work done to it. The front end had a bunch of tin work done underneath it, and let's see if we can even see it. So they did a bunch of stuff up inside there, whatever's going on. I know we're supposed to mask it so we don't get it all messed up. It's got all these legit hood louvers and whatever. I haven't even popped the hood. Maybe we'll pop the hood for y'all, see if there's anything going on underneath there. They had this funky two-tone paint going on with it, and I believe it had the wide body kit on it or something. It had something going on with some flares. They changed the front fenders out to get rid of that, whatever was going on. I'm pretty sure. I know this fender's brand new. Maybe that fender's not. But he had to go through here and cut the quarters out and then put these quarters on. So I don't know if this is a wide body quarter or if this is the factory quarters back on. I'm pretty sure it had something else on it because something was molded in all the way up here, the whole quarter. So that's the reason why I believe that it did have the wide stuff on it, and then they wanted to go back to the non-wide stuff. I know they have requested that we cut weight and not just add filler to this. So this is really thick right here, like really thick, where everything was molded on. So they have asked that when we go in here that we try to basically not just smear a bunch of mud over to meet that, to try to go ahead and get rid of the mud up here and then skim everything. That it don't have to be perfect because it is a race car, but to try to just, you know, limit the amount of filler that we can use on it to keep the weight off of it. So what I've done is I've already started over here real fast. You can see where this is definitely the old green paint on it. So whatever wide kit or whatever was over here went over top of it, it looks like, and then they have molded it in top. So what I had done was I started tapering the edge. Originally I was going to taper the edge taper it up a little, and then skim it. And I wasn't going to worry about going too much that way. But then I decided to get the grinder out and just test it, and I grinded a strip through here to test, see where the metal starts. And I found that the metal is actually right there, so you can get rid of all the filler. So that's old green paint. That's the other green paint. There's no filler. So here's like the strip that was left behind of filler. So what I have done is I have found metal here, and you can tell the difference in, you know, this is the green paint, and then obviously you can see where there's filler over here. So we want to get rid of this filler. That way all we're having to do is just skim this lightly. Looks like we've got some holes in here where it was, the other thing was riveted on. You can see where they got some filler in them, but the other kit was riveted on. So we want to, I'm guessing I might pop these with a little bit of tack weld, or I might just dimple these in and hit it with a little JB weld is another trick you can do, so you don't have to tack weld nothing. So either JB weld or panel bond probably be my easiest, so I don't worry about sparks and warping nothing. And I just need to find where the filler stops here. This makes me a little nervous that they have skimmed filler all the way to the sills, but I'm going to keep creeping up on it and hope that that's not the case, and hope that here within 1/2 of an inch it turns back into paint just like here, because the paint is about right there. So I'm hoping that the paint stays to about right there. And that's going to make my job way easier, because then all I have to do is a light skim over it, get rid of all this buildup in the door jamb right there, because you can see where all that was. And this was where they cut the old stuff off. And then you can see down here. So we ain't got to really make none of that too pretty, but we're just going to skim this over and just make it look decent for a race car. All of your bumper, they have like, I guess, nut certs welded on the back of them, and it's just bolted on with through bolts straight through it. So he said that them come right off easily. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to knock these out and get this thing into primer, and then get a cheaper all green race car paint job put on this thing. Let's see if this side, here's what in the passenger side looks like. So I mean, it's all gutted. There ain't nothing in there. Pretty cool little car. We're gonna get at it. All right, so we got this bad boy quarter panels knocked out. This little thing's been tough. It is Friday. I have balanced all my other jobs and worked on this little guy all week on these 2 quarter panels. You know, I have to balance some other stuff, get some stuff painted and stuff like that. But we got them through Bodywork. They're all blocked out. They are 90% to 95% straight, I would say. I have been reminded multiple times that it is a race car, and we are on a extremely low budget. So it is what it is. But we're gonna get this thing primed today, and then next week get it blocked out and move on to prepping the rest of the car. So here's what the quarters look like, so nobody thinks I'm doing any movie magic and not trying to show something. So it's been completely slicked out. I know they originally said to try to keep the body filler off of it, and then when I started skimming it out and sanding on it, I was like, man, there is no way. I mean, these things were just so like, you know, let's see here, the cord like rolled this way, and then it was rolled out, and it was rolled extremely bad inside, you know, in here, and it was just an absolute nightmare. And I was trying to keep the curves that they had welded, even though I don't think they were right, but it just wasn't happening. So basically I had to skim it all the way from up there to there and just reshape it. So we're gonna get this thing in primer and then move on to blocking it out and prepping the rest of the car so we can get this thing painted. So it's Friday, 11 o'clock, and we're going to call it on this one for this week. Quarters are in primer. That door's 320 to out. Guide coat is all over the primer. So if you don't know what guide coat is, it's basically where we take this black like spray paint. It's not actual spray paint. It's in a spray paint can, but it sands different than spray paint does. You can use spray paint if you're in a pinch, but this will allow me to see all my highs and lows come Monday. So I started 320 in this door, and the clock caught up with me, so it's 11 o'clock. We call it a wrap on 11 o'clock at Fridays. We work 8 to 5 Monday through Thursday, and 8 to 11 on Fridays. So out of here, and it's time for me to go home and work on my race car. back bumpers come Monday. We'll sand out the back bumpers. We'll sand out all that. The pinstripe that you see in there is actually underneath the clear coat. So I have been instructed to not worry about removing it, just to sand over it, and they don't care if you can still slightly see it after the paint work. So that was the instructions passed down to me. But yeah, and it's a brand new fender on that side, so it should be easy. We're not painting the hood, not painting the roof, and not painting the deck lid because them are carbon. We're also not painting these little pieces in here because it's just more taping and seals to deal with and everything. So we're not painting none of that. We're just going to tape it all. But we'll get this thing sanded all out with 320 come Monday, and we should get this thing painted next week. It is going all green.
Dude, I look like a mess. I mean, I am covered in this crap. I saw sanding dust all morning. That's all I've been doing is this little guy. So we just washed it, got it all washed out, and I figured while it's all open up and drying, I will go ahead and show y'all under the hood and inside the trunk for anybody in the future that ever comments or cares about what this may have, because I don't know if that's a thing in this world of cars. I'm not familiar with them, but let me flip you around and show you what it got, just in case anybody's interested.
All right, so there's what it is, whatever that is. It says Mazda. It says 16 valves. So yeah, got a little intake. Aluminum radiator, aluminum piece right here to direct the air into the radiator. Looks like it's got an oil filter relocation, and that's kind of cool. Makes it probably a little easier to change the oil on it, obviously. Besides that, I don't know. I believe that's aftermarket, could be wrong. That looks like where the thermostat would go. Maybe aftermarket thermostat housing. But yeah, that's what's under the hood of this little guy, whatever that is. So if you know what it is, comment down below, tell us. Looks like something right down here, maybe some kind of delete plate has been put on it. It kind of honestly looked like a thermostat used to be there, but maybe I'm wrong. So yeah, looks like it had some HIDs, even though the headlights are spray painted solid. Guessing that's just a manifold blanket to keep the heat out. We already showed you the inside. Trunk is pretty basic. Looks like it has a battery tender on it, little jump box, battery over there, brace in the back. Pretty straightforward. You pull these two little things and that releases the trunk. I guess they disconnected the trunk release for whatever reason, maybe for emergencies if the car gets in a wreck on the track. They have to be able to open it from the outside. That's what I'm gonna guess. So yeah, got your little toe point. That's it. On the bumper, they just had these through bolts through here, and then they have these tabs welded to there that just bolt in, so there's no more plastic clips on it. So they're just welded little tabs. It has nuts on them. It goes up, and it just through bolts, and there's actually a through bolt through there, which is kind of annoying to me because I would have just rolled with these. I would have maybe put another tab down here through the face. That's pretty quick and easy to take off. I would have got rid of the one that went up through there. But whatever. The tires on this thing are like slicks, whatever they are. I don't know. This is out of the drag world. This Toyo's definitely not my thing. Same thing up front. I respect everybody's build. I just can't tell you no information on it because I don't know anything about it. I'm just here to paint it. So we are going back with this green. I just washed it for paint. We're going to run to the paint store, and we're going to take one of the old fenders that we got here and go match the paint. So this is the color that we are looking to match, is that color. So I'm gonna rinse it off real fast, get the dust off of it, and then run it over to the paint store. This is a fiberglass fender. I guess maybe this was the wide fenders. Yeah, that's exactly what that was, it looks like. So if you look at it, that's like a wide bubbled out flare.
whereas that one's not. So that's what it was, is it had these ones on it. I guess maybe they slid or something and hit something and damaged this one. Maybe that's what started all this. I don't know. I just know he just gave me one of these and then he left this one. So this is a steel fender and it has stickers all over it that don't match the other side. So I'm guessing that this was originally on the car, because it does not have the blue on the bottom and it does not have the yellow stripe. So this was probably on the car before they went with these fiberglass wide style fenders, and maybe they didn't have this one for whatever reason, or maybe it was damaged and they just put steel ones back on it. So we're gonna go to the paint store, get this guy matched. We're going solid green, get this in the booth, tape it up, and get her shot, get her wet. All right, so there's our little Miata job. It has flaws in it. This was a very cheap race car job. All this is just dirt, and we haven't washed anything. We didn't paint that one section out there. This was just an extremely cheap race car job. I mean, it is a base coat clear coat, but on the scale of base coat clear coat, it's cheap. So it's not like it's some, it's not super low end like single stage, but it's not a high-end base coat clear coat job either. So it definitely has its flaws, but I think this is what they were looking for. We switched clears on this one and used a different clear. The cost of clear has went up tremendously. So this one has a little bit more of, you can see, a kind of a dull sheen to it. It's not as glossy as anything else. If you put a wet sand buff on it, that would help tremendously, but that was not in the budget for this job. So these quarters are all back done. You can see the orange peel in it also, compared to some of the other stuff. Like if you look at Randy's stuff when I shot it straight out the gun, on Randy's stuff, it was a lot better. So that clear is this clear is a lot thinner, and it's just not gonna lay out as, nicely as some of your nicer clears. This clear is actually what we're gonna start using on all of our flip cars. You can see where we did not pull the top off and didn't get 100% coverage underneath there. So yeah, I mean, this is a cheap base coat clear coat race car job. This bumper down here, this is an area that the old paint actually wrinkled, so you can see where it was chipped. There was no primer work done right here, so all of this paint's actually still kind of like loose. This should have been primed all through here, but again, it's just not, it was not in the budget at all. I did more work on these quarter panels than I even charged for. What I charged for the whole job should have been just for 2 quarters of how much work I ended up doing on the quarters. So customer's a good friend of mine, so if they want that repainted over there, then I'm gonna go and let them know that if they just get the bumper off and get it to me where the bumper's off the car, so I don't have to deal with it on the car again, if it's worth that time to them, then I will redo that area, prime it, and reshoot the bumper. I have to buy some more base coat, unfortunately, because we used every drop of it on this one. But overall, I guess for a track car, it turned out pretty decent. I guess if somebody spray painted them headlights at some point, I don't know. They don't seem too picky with this, being it's a race car from what I have talked to them so far. So maybe they'll be good with it, who knows. We're gonna wrap that one up this morning, get that one out of here, get paid on it, hopefully. Put some pocket change literally in our banking account. Like, comment, subscribe, share, and I'll catch y'all on the next one.